Well, everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you are in the world, you know it is JJ on JJ's PC Builds. Today is the live day for the live stream with me and Dakota right here. So, y'all sit back and relax and enjoy yourself and make sure you got your drinks and make sure you got your snacks, like always. And we're going to get this party started. So, now we're going to switch over to the action screen, like always, and we're going to go ahead and invite Mr. Dakota back into the discussion. Go ahead, Mr. Dakota. Everybody can hear you.
Hello, I am back once again on time this time.
Alrighty, well, so tell me how your day's going before we go ahead and get this little bit of information out to everybody today. So tell me how your day's going.
Pretty good. Like I was explaining before the video started, I had to fix a buddy's computer today with a rivet gun. Not something I normally do, but he had a broken support, and we drilled out straight in the support and riveted it back in. Went over to a town next to mine to go get hose. Well, to look for hose that might be suitable for a liquid cooling system I'm doing, and hit up 3 different hardware stores and didn't find anything. So that was a bit of a bummer. I'm gonna have to order it online, I guess.
So you had to go give your friend moral support. You had to go find across town for some more hose.
Yes. Yes. I was out looking for some more hose.
No, you missed the whole conversation.
Oh no, I got it. I got the moral support and the hose. I get it.
No, I had to throw that in there, everybody. You know me. I just got to throw a little something in there. But, anything, so you got all your cooling stuff and you got everything together, right?
No, I don't have the hose yet. The problem is I bought the fittings used, and the guy didn't know what size hose the fittings went to. So now I gotta try to figure out the ID, OD of what hose I need. That's why I want to go to a hardware store, because I could at least pick out different sizes and see if they fit.
Well,
But,
actually, if you take the fitting and you get the OD of the fitting, that tells you the ID of the hose.
well, they're compression fittings, so
Yeah.
the OD and the ID both need to be known.
Well,
And I'd have a pair of calipers, and I don't have calipers.
oh, they sell the plastic ones for like 99 cents, man.
I know, but if I'm gonna spend money on it, I want to get like a digital one.
Oh, I got you. That's all good. And I want to make sure I welcome everybody that came into the room, and welcome to the live stream once again. It's good to see y'all here. You're welcome, more than welcome to put your chat right there. If you want to chime in at any time, you're more than welcome to, because it's open to everybody. So if you want to, you can chime in, say hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We do recognize you when you do chat with us here on the channel. We do see it, and we will acknowledge you, just to let you know. Okay, so you ready to get this party started, me?
Yeah, we probably had a little bit of an echo there. I had it going through the wrong audio on my computer.
Oh, yeah, well, it's still going to echo regardless, because I ain't got my headphones on. So one of these days, I'll learn to put my headphones on so you don't echo.
Yeah, see, I just slapped my headphones on because I was like, I'm sitting there listening to you, and I'm like, oh crap, I gotta put my headphones on.
Oh, I got you there. Okay, so this is the discussion for today. Okay, I went up onto the website PC Gamers, right? And I seen that they said AMD has newly announced RX 6750 GRE cards. Our strong RTX 4060 competitors through you won't find them on the shelves in the West. Okay, now I'm going to explain this out a little bit, so that way, and I'm going to let you chime in after I got, everything all set. The thing with the RX 6750 GRE, there's 2 variants. There's a 10 gig variant and there's a 12 gig variant. VRAM. Okay, so basically you got 10 gigabytes of VRAM for the same variant, and they're selling them for the same exact price. But the reason why they say you won't find them here in the United States is because they're just for China only. That's the only where you're going to get them, in China. But there's another but to this, another new caveat, that the only way you can get this card is in a pre-built system. Where do you see the funkiness out of this? What do you think, Dakota?
I'm interested to see, with GPUs being made, I think it's wacky that they're releasing the GPU just for pre-builds. But depending on the pre-builds, like, I'm interested to see, like, yeah, they're saying, like, oh, performance-wise, the 4060 competitor, blah, 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 blah. But have you ever seen, like, a Dell version of any graphics card?
Yeah, the Alienware.
Yeah, okay, so like the generic black shrouds. Half the time they're blower styles. They get hot.
Now, do remind you, I do have a Dell here, but it's a kind of modified Dell.
But is the graphics card? Well, you don't have a graphics card in that one yet, do you?
I just got a crappy old 4 gigabyte card in there.
Oh, that's fine. I'm talking about like the OEM cards, like the cards that Dell produces themselves and ships.
Oh, like the
Usually
R,
green
like
PCBs.
like the R5 240 that they ship with the system normally, or the 5750 that they normally, ATI 5750.
Well, I'm trying to think of like the 1650. No, 1660 Ti. I had two versions of that card. One was made by Dell. It had a green PCB, a black shroud, green, like just GeForce was painted on the side of it in green. It looked very cheap. And I've also had an Asus version of a 1660 Ti. Very different cards. Even down to performance, the Asus card ran much cooler. It just performed better. Right. So I'm interested to see if these RX 6750s are, one, if they're just going to be AMD's generic shroud, or if it's going to be like some like Chinese OEM custom built shroud. And if so, I'm interested to see how good it is on performance, because a lot of times those pre-built included cards aren't always the greatest when it comes to like HP and Dell and companies like that. They're good cards, but the company's got to save money somehow, and that's usually how they do it, is they cut down on their video card quality.
No, they don't cut down on the video card quality. What they do is they take their old stock video cards and they turn around and they turn them into something, just like they did with the 5600 X3D. Not the 5800 X3D. This is the processor, talking about that processor.
Yeah.
The one that I got was the 5600 X3D. They took the broken 5800 X3Ds and cut them down a little bit and got them fixed. And they put them out there as, old new stock. But with these GREs, they're the same thing. The 66, they're basically the same as the 6750 XT. Okay, that you would buy over here in the US. They're basically just the same, but they got two variants. They got the 10 gigabyte variant at $269, and they got the 12 gigabyte variant that's at $289.
Yeah.
But do remember now the RTX 4060 is at $300. So is the 6700 XT. So either way you look at it, I mean, if you're gonna nickel and dime somebody like AMD's doing right now, that's just nickeling and diming people. Basically, you want to get 12 gigabytes for this much, blah blah blah. Well, you got to figure what kind of RAM you get with the 6700 XT. You get 8 gigabytes or you get 12. I mean, that's just basically, taking a 6700 XT, putting it out there for a GRE variant, and taking a 6750 XT, putting it out there for a GRE variant. There's absolutely no reason why you would ever want the GRE, because it's the same as the XT the variants. There's not much variant, not unless you're looking to benchmark it and see what's going on with it. But that's going to be like if you got a friend over there that can buy it for you and they send it over here kind of thing. But that's the only way you're going to get your hands on it.
Well, they'll eventually hit eBay too, because like I've personally I own a Yetsin card, and I've owned a Galax card in the past. Both of those, I believe, are European market only.
Yeah, but Yeston they sell over here at they in Amazon and Newegg they sell Yeston in there.
Yeah, but I can guarantee I mean, they might have changed it, but they didn't used to be sold in the U.S.
Yeah, but they did change it because Yeston decided to sell over here in the United States, and that was within about a year ago.
Oh, yeah, their cards are still incredibly expensive.
Yeah, they're more expensive over here than they are over there.
Yeah, because it's like a niche thing that they're not normally sold in the U.S. So it's like, oh, you want to buy this specialty item.
And plus the shipping and everything else. That's what's killing everybody right now. Your shipping cost you just as much as the card does. Go figure that one.
Yeah, they got an RTX 4070 Ti for $999.
Oh, did I tell you? I've seen a 4070 Ti for $447.
Where?
eBay. Brand new in the box.
Are you sure it was legit?
It looked legit. Because it came, I think it came from MSI. Direct from MSI.
That is actually pretty nice. Was it like a refurbished one? Or no, you said it was new in the box?
New in the box.
Wow.
I forgot to mention that on the last stream, but that's what happened about a couple weeks ago. I don't know if it's there now, but I can tell you that's what they sold it for. Is because they're realizing that the RTX 4070 Ti is close to the same variant as the RTX 4070. So why are they going to take and sell that as an $800 card when it should have been a $600 card, and then the 4070 should have been a $450, $500 card? So
yeah,
that comes back to what I was talking to you about yesterday, was the fact of that now that the 4070, they got, what was it? When I did Graphics Card Nightmares on Friday, and I posted it, they were selling the RTX 4070 at $549, but you get a video game with it, a Steam game with it. So if you take and add that into the process of the factors, that would make that card down to $500. Because it's a $50 game, so you take off $50 for the game that they added on there, and it's only a $500 card. So it definitely will meet into the price of the 7800 XT. I know a lot of people are going to be naysaying about it, but I hate to tell you this, unless they cut down the 7800 XT another $50, another $50, that's the only way they're going to make it work. Truthfully. So that's what it comes down to. So because now that nvidia is stepping up their game on their software, they're starting to improve their software even more. So that means the 4070 I got here is going to start taking the lead over the 7800 XT that everybody claims it was the best of the best. But you know what? You're not getting all the performance out of the RTX 4070 because it's being restricted by NVIDIA. There it is. So once they start taking the chains off of those restrictions, then that card's going to blow smoke right past the 7800 XT. But they're afraid, I bet you they're afraid that it's going to blow the 4070 Ti out of the water. Because it's the same substrate. It's the same GPU die. The 4070 and the 4070 Ti use the same GPU die. But if they took the restrictions off of the 4070, I think it would blow past the 4070 Ti. What do you think?
They're not going to do that.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. If there was a way around that, you can get a lot more horsepower out of this GPU. There's a lot more there that's not being utilized. That's what I think. So
that could be. I've heard in the past, you said it's the same chip, right? It's the same die?
Yep, same GPU die.
So I've heard in the past that when they do that and they have like a lower end version of the card, it just means there's more bad sectors on the die. So it doesn't clock as high as it does with the other dies of the higher end cards.
Yeah.
Like there's certain amount of cores that have failed on a chip, but it's still a functioning good chip. So they just sell it as a lower end product.
This is true.
So I don't know how much extra you could get out of your card if there's like bad I don't know the whole structure of a CPU, but like of the chiplets or whatever that's on it, the little sectors or whatever, the cores. I'll just say cores. I don't know. I know they do that with CPUs. I've heard of that. I don't know about graphics cards though.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. A couple days ago, I had a friend of mine down in Florida that has the 4090, the RTX 4090. I had him clock it out at the max you can get out of the GPU to see what the GPU max clock was. He said 3060. And I get the same out of this 4070. 3060. So like I said, NVIDIA's put the chains on the GPU. As soon as they take the chains off, that thing's going to rock. And it's going to definitely blow the 7800 XT out of the water. See, people are looking at what they see now, but they're not looking what they can see out of that for the future. Okay? There could come one day that, NVIDIA says screw it and just takes the chain off of the software and says, okay, well, we're going to change the BIOS in here and we're going to give you a new BIOS. So update your BIOS to this like you do your motherboard. And then guess what? Boom. That thing is just going to rock like no other. That's my feeling. It'd be nice if NVIDIA does that with the BIOSes like they do your motherboards, to where they update your BIOSes for your graphics cards. That would be something too, to keep it fresh and up to date.
I doubt it. I really doubt that they would do that, because their idea of keeping stuff fresh is just making a new card and selling it to you.
Yeah, true, but if they're wanting to save the money for some consumers, I mean, they could actually, for you to get the updated software, they could say, okay, well, $5, you can have the updated software. And still turn it into a money grab.
Again, I think that would be a PR nightmare for them, just in the fact of like, you had these more powerful cards, and you cut them down, sold them to us crappy, and now you're gonna charge us more money. It's kind of like, what was it? I think BMW. I could be wrong. I'll just say a high-end car company. They sold a car that literally restricts the horsepower of the car unless you make monthly payments for it.
Yeah, this is true. They do that,
and it doesn't. It didn't go over well. People were very upset. So I feel like if nvidia did the same thing and they're like, hey, here's a 4070, technically it's as good if not better than a 4070 Ti, but you're gonna have to make monthly payments to have that. I don't see that going over well.
Well, think about it like this. Technically, Microsoft can do it with all your software, all your hardware. Technically, they could restrict, and it's because it's Microsoft software. They could at any time restrict anything that's on your computer without your consent. That's part of their bylaws.
There'd be a bunch of legal stuff though of them like restricting like other companies' hardware for their
No,
monetary gain.
not necessarily, because they're both companies are on agreement. Like Microsoft's in agreement with nvidia that it's open sourced on certain bits of the software. So basically Microsoft does open source on certain bits of the operating system. Certain parts of the operating system they don't, not the basics, but all the other stuff they do open sourced. So just like AMD going open sourced right now, and nvidia hasn't gotten there yet, but someday they might want to go open source as well. So this way it allows the creators of new type of software in there to modify and make it better, and it takes the cost off of the companies by letting these small creators mess around with the software for free. You see my point? They make more money. They make more money on that than anything, because the ones that go in there and they change the software, basically they're the ones that are helping the companies make more money, and plus that helps them get in the door too to make more money as well. But now with this 6750 GRE's 12 gigabyte, the RT accelerator is 40. That's interesting. The compute units is 40, but it's with RDNA 2, not 3. So these cards right here are just with RDNA 2, not RDNA 3. So you won't get like that fluid frame and stuff like that with that. This would be this would be on RDNA 2 variant. So you wouldn't get all that. But the game clock on it for their 12 gigabyte one is 2439 megahertz. The boost clock is 2581 megahertz. Well, the normal clock on this sitting at idle is 25. What did I say it was? I keep forgetting that. Damn. It's 2520 megahertz idle. So looking at their boost clock at 2581, you see the difference I'm telling you right here, right? You see that difference. So that card's 192-bit, so is the 4070. The memory speed is at 16 gigabits per second. Oh, ouch. I think that the 4070 is like at 18 or something like that, 18 or 21, somewhere in there. But it's a lot higher than 16. But they did stick a bunch of infinity cache, like 96 megs.
Yeah, I see that.
And display ports at 1.4A. Well, that don't tell you much about the card if it just tells you it's got one display port. Doesn't even say it's got HDMI. Where's the catch-22 to this? And also, too, the TDP is at 230 watts. So that means it's going to be running 30 watts to maybe 80 watts more than the 4070. So you think that card's worth it? Nope. Do you
Maybe in
think
China.
it's worth it to China, but it's not worth it to hear us in the United States? I can tell you that right now. It's not going to be worth it.
Well, when you comparing it, were you comparing it to the 4060 or the 4070?
I'm comparing it to the 4070.
You should compare it to the 4060 and see, because the 4060, if that's what they're aiming for, is the 4060, it might be, because like I just went on Amazon, and the 4060 is like $280 to like $350.
I know, but
This card,
where I'm getting the point is that yeah, you can compare it to the 4060, right? You can compare it to that, but when you look for the horsepower and everything else, are you really going to be playing on a 4060 and you're just going to save a couple bucks more and then you're going to go up to the 4070? But most of the people right now are going to be saving their money. They're going to be waiting for the something else that's going to be coming out. We'll talk about that in a minute. But
all right.
I don't feel, they want to put the 4060 in there, fine. Okay, maybe they should put the 7600 RX 7600 in there. Maybe they should have, maybe instead of putting the 7600 out, that which was a flop, that they should have invested more and put the 6700, do an upgrade on the 6700 instead of doing the 7600. But that's them. They wanted a 7000 series card, on the cheap. So, but that's only 8 gigabytes. That's 7600. So, they'd have been better if they would have invested more time into the 7600, made a 76 a special 7600 with 16 gigabytes of VRAM. The 7600 with 16 gigabytes of VRAM instead of the 8 gigabyte. Kind of double up on it a little bit. I think that would have made a better card because everybody would have bought it. If they would have put it at $300, everybody would have bought it. 16 gigabytes, everybody would have got it. That would have been worth $300. Okay, but these GRE cards, I'm thinking that the way they got it set up is just like it's a cut and paste kind of graphics card. Do you think they could have done that? Just did a cut and paste graphics card?
Honestly, I don't know.
Well, if you're looking for a graphics card, you're looking for something that's going to go right to the wall, something that's going to take it right to the moon. But you don't want to spend that extra cost, so everybody's trying to stay in between the $200 and $300 range and think that they're going to put out a card that's going to take it to the moon. But
see, I don't think it's ever been that way though. Because like even when I got into computers, like somewhere after the 960, right before the 1060, those were $300 cards, and nobody really expected. I mean, those are the budget gamer cards. Those were the ones that people knew wasn't going to give them the best performance, but its price performance was really good for what it was.
Right.
Usually people who are like want the best of the best are usually the ones spending the $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $1,400, $1,700 buying
Right.
4090s and 3090 Ti's and all those super high-end cards.
Yeah, because basically they want to do this. The high end is because they want to go once every 5 years.
Yeah.
That's the reason why everybody likes the mid to high end is because they want to have that one card to last 5 years and be done.
Normal people. There's also enthusiasts who upgrade every time a new card comes out.
Yeah. Well, that comes down to the fact now we're going to go ahead and we're going to switch gears. Now, the U.S. government restricts the shipments of GeForce RTX 4090s to China and other countries. What is up with that?
What is with China getting their own graphics card and then America's preventing them from getting more graphics cards?
Yeah, I think it was like the A100 and the H800 that nvidia was making. The A100 series, I think it was the A100. Is it the A100? I think it's the A100. Yeah, it's the A100 and the A800 that they're not going to be able to ship. It, from what this is saying is from November 16th, 2023, NVIDIA will be unable to ship its A100, A800, H100, H800, L40, L40S, and GeForce RTX 4090 cards and modules for AI and HPC computing to China, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates and Vietnam without an export license from the U.S. Department of Commerce Bureau of Industry and Security. Wow. But there are rumors that they're saying that, the prices are going to go up on the 4090s here in the U.S. because the prices did go up $100 from what I see.
Which doesn't make any sense to me, since some of the biggest video card farms are in China. And if we're preventing them from getting the cards, you'd think we'd have more supply and demand, the price would drop here in the US.
Well, what I think it is that if they're not selling enough, they're going to put a scare tactic in everybody, and so that way they sell more, and everybody thinks in their mind, "Oh my God, they're going to raise the prices. We need to get our card now." You see what I mean? So,
Maybe everybody in China, but in the US, how does that really affect us?
well, see, it's affecting China is because they're still buying their cards for AI. They don't have enough cards over there for to do the new AI that's coming. They're trying to build.
Yeah.
So they're looking upon nvidia to produce more cards, but the United States said, "Whoa, if you're gonna sell them, a large amount of cards, then they want their hands in the cookie jar so they can get a cut of whatever's going on between China and nvidia."
Well, and it could be that they're just scared of China too. I mean, having AI can be pretty scary.
Yeah, and you know what I'm going to say about that. Not when you got somebody, I'm not going to say who it is, but you got somebody sticking their hand out to China saying, "Give me millions," and getting away with it. There's a big difference in that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to take and get into the politics of this.
Yeah, no.
But as far as the politics in the PC world, the PC politics, you know, some people are saying that some companies from Taiwan are going to come over here to the United States, and that way they can, get past that little embargo thing they got for
That would be awesome.
the trading between the United States and Taiwan. So Taiwan's thinking about, sending a couple businesses over here and building into the United States.
American jobs, cheaper video cards or processors or RAM or whatever. I'll take it. That all sounds good to me.
Yeah, that's the wishful, hopeful thinking that was supposed to go on about maybe 3 years ago, when again somebody put their hands in the cookie jar, threw out a whole bunch of cash and says, come over here and build new chips and everything else, and we're gonna give you a little bit of a bonus for doing it.
Yeah.
And guess what? 3 years later, and what's been built? Absolutely freaking nothing.
That's
Nothing was started.
How it
Nada. So it just flabbergasts me that these companies say, oh yeah, unless you see something that says built in USA, made in the USA, unless you start seeing those stickers, then it's all being made in China.
Yep.
Even Taiwan is shipping their stuff over to China to be built.
It's kind of crazy how much stuff that we have here in America that we say is made in America that isn't actually made in America.
No, not unless you go inside on the product and it says made in China.
Well, like, I have a buddy who works at I'm not going to say the buddy's name or the factory, but they get parts from China, and then they drill a hole in that part, and they thread that part, just like they run a tap into it, and that's all they do, and they say their products are American made. They're painted and casted and everything else in China, shipped to the U.S., where they put a hole in it and a tap, and then that's it. And then they say it's U.S. made.
Unless the components are made here in the United States, unless the PCBs are made here in the United States, unless the whole thing is made here in the United States, it's not USA made.
And I want to clarify too. China makes garbage a lot of the time, but that's because we give them a budget that doesn't. We give them a budget and want a product that is unrealistic in high standards, but is completely realistic in low, crappy standards. Some of the best stuff, some of the most reliable stuff, has been made in China, and so has a lot of crap. So people give China a lot of crap. They're just like, oh, China just makes garbage. No, China makes garbage when we pay them to make garbage. But they also make really high-end nice stuff when we pay them to make really high-end nice stuff. I've had multiple things that were made in China, and they were extremely nice. They were expensive. They cost a lot of money. But you could tell the machine work was beautiful on it. The paint job was beautiful on it. And then you buy something from AliExpress for super unrealistic price, and you get a really crappy thing in the mail, and it's kind of what you expect.
See, understand this. What people do over here in the United States, when they get done using their items, they throw them in the trash. Okay? Yep. And what happens is after it goes to the trash, it gets put back into a recycling mode. Then what they do is they collect all this electronic stuff and they put it into crates. Guess where they ship it? Right back to China. And then what happens is China repurposes everything that they get from those products. So basically everything goes on to what they call refurbishing.
Yep.
So basically we pay for the products, we throw it away, we just threw money away. Basically, that the trash men, they put them into separate crates, ship them over to China. They make money. China pays them money for this product. And then China repurposes out again and makes more money off of that same product over and over and over again. You could be having one product that's been recycled 30 times or 40 times. Well, I would say in my lifetime, it would be 50 times.
I mean, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but to have the same product over and over again recycled for 50 times, I'm not okay with that.
I mean, as long as the price is fitting.
Yeah, but you've noticed the prices on AliExpress, they're not getting any prettier. Soon as the
No.
United States raises their prices, so does AliExpress.
I guess it would depend on what's being recycled too. Like if it's just plastic, I don't really have an issue with recycled plastic. Uh, PCBs and stuff though, I don't exactly know how that works.
See, you got the chemical they use in the PTE plastic, you got to be really careful with because it can turn around and be very, very violently bad for your health. It could be a cancer risk. Even have your child play with a plastic with a refurbished item from China, you're talking really bad PTE problems because that usually is a cancerous issue, especially when they stick that PTE into their mouth as being babies. That becomes.
Is there a difference between PET and PETG?
Yeah, there's somewhat of a little bit of a different variant. PTE is basically the same thing as a plastic bottle. So even you drinking out of a plastic bottle can become a very bad health issue. Why do you think for years Coca-Cola made their Cokes in aluminum cans, or they made it in glass?
I was always told that was because the plastic industry wasn't as big yet.
No, it's because glass was more clean and more safe than PTE plastic was. And they wanted to save money, so they decided to go to plastic.
I'm just looking up about PET plastic causing cancer. I print with that. That's what my 3D printer uses is PETG.
Oh.
Oh, bless you. Sorry.
I think there is a little bit of a difference between PTE and PTEG.
Okay, exposure to certain chemicals in plastic products such as bisphenol, BPA, can cause cancer in people at certain exposure levels, according to research. PET plastic, which is commonly used for single-use disposable plastic bottles, is known to leach a harmful metal.
Yeah, you're catching on.
Leaches a harmful metal.
Yep, now you're catching on.
Cause lung, heart, and stomach problems. Additionally, ingesting chemicals from PET bottles can affect the immune system and cause liver cancer and sperm count reduction. Careless disposal of waste pollutes the environment and clogs city sewers like plastic garbage stores, water, and supports the breeding of mosquitoes and further degradation of the burning plastics with offensive odors. However, there is no good scientific evidence to support claims that drinking water from a plastic bottle can cause cancer, especially if they have been left in cars or frozen and reused.
Are you surprised?
I'm curious where the metals come from. Like, I wonder if it's from the machines that reproduce the plastic. We're rabbit holing here.
Could be. It could be a Teflon.
Is Teflon metal?
Kind of in a consideration. If you use Teflon on like your cooking items, it's still considered like a metal. But they do have a clear Teflon that they do make now these days that usually limits sun exposure, but they use that on they use it for tint for cars, but it's not a tint, it's a clear sheet that goes over your window, like if you have argon glass and it keeps the heat from coming in through the glass.
Okay.
That's basically what that does, is the same thing. They probably line the bottle with that Teflon coating because they think it's safer than the PT plastic that's there. which both of them are harmful as hell.
Yeah.
So you drinking distilled water, or no, just drinking regular purified water and thinking that you're really getting purified water, you're getting purified shit. So.
And that's why I drink spring water, straight from our spring.
Well, I figured I'd let you know that, because a lot of people are like,
yeah, no, I've never even heard of that. That's nuts.
Yeah. So let's move on down the road to the last but not least about what is on our list for today. Like they said right here, nvidia rumored to be preparing GeForce RTX 4080 and 4070 super graphics cards. So it is a rumor. It's not been announced yet. So when it's not been announced yet, that basically just tells everybody it's just basic straight up. It could happen or it can't. So it's either it does or it doesn't kind of thing. So
it's a very realistic rumor. Let's just say that.
Yeah, but Hongxing 2020 is saying that from an update for October 18th update that there's going to be a 4080 Super, a 4070 Ti Super, and a 4070 Super. To be determined. So it looks like there could be another variant coming out. We don't know yet. But what I know for a fact that if they do that, there's going to be a lot of unhappy NVIDIA users. Well, no, not unhappy, but there are going to be like a little bit of people that are going to be like really a little bit upset about the fact because they, when they purchased their 4070 Ti thinking that it's going to be the, utmost of that, having a 4070 Super meet up to the same as that and be way less price than that, people are going to be a little bit pissed about that. Because that's where the factor lies in, to where, if the 4070 they have a super variant or a Ti variant. Well, they do have a Ti variant, but now if they have a super variant, especially if they're going to take that 4070 Super and make it 16 gigabytes of VRAM, then everybody's going to be like, okay, well, the 4070 Ti is only 12 gigabytes of VRAM, which I think that NVIDIA made a boo-boo there. If they made the 4070 with 12 gigabytes, they should have made the 4070 Ti with 16 gigabytes. But they didn't. They made the 4070 and the 4070 Ti almost identical. They're almost identical, except for the power is cut back a little bit on the 4070 compared to the 4070 Ti.
I was gonna say they got a lot of flack for that. I remember when they released that.
Yeah, especially when they're, you got two cards that almost equal out to the same, but there's little bit of differences here and there that you can see that makes the 4070 Ti run better than the 4070. But I think NVIDIA locked some of that stuff off, and I think the 4070, I never looked into a 4070 Ti to see if the insides are the same as the 4070. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't even had a 4070 Ti in my possession, so I wouldn't know either.
So if I were to look at the 4070, unboxed, looking at the insides compared to the 4070 Ti, and if they look exactly the same, then the only difference would be is that the BIOS software is different.
Yeah.
Who's to say that you can't change the BIOS on the one card, like the 4070, took the BIOS chip off of the 47. Now, this is just hypothetical. Don't everybody get in their panties into a wad. But somebody brought it up to me. They said, what if I took a 4070 Ti BIOS, the chip, and took it off the 4070 Ti and put it onto the 4070?
Oh.
What would happen then? And then reflash it. What would happen then? Well, see, that's what people brought up the question is, because if you actually think about it, they both have the same GPU, the same chip variant. So, who's to say it won't work? They both carry the same amount of VRAM. They both carry everything the same except for a little bit of here and there. So who's to say that they couldn't come out with either that, or they'd come out with a different BIOS, an overclocking BIOS to where it'll clock up like the 4070 Ti. Who say you can't change the BIOS to an overclocking BIOS for the 4070. So that's something to think about, because I've heard from different reviewers being able to do that, being able to get their hands on a special BIOS for their graphics cards to install it to it without it bricking, and being able to clock up higher than it actually is supposed to do. Now that's sick.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts about that? I mean, I'm not getting it.
Honestly, I think nvidia just likes to saturate the market with video cards. I think they constantly like to be in the headlines, so they just keep making video cards that are just slightly better or just slightly worse than a card that's dang near the same performance.
Oh, like AMD doesn't do the same thing?
They might. I don't follow AMD as much.
Well,
honestly though, like when I think back to the only time I was ever really in the AMD was the RX 580, the 570, the 590. Did they have their own version of like a 580 Super or a 580 Ti or a 580 Special Edition or?
Yeah, they do have China came out with the 580 Special Edition. They made a 16 gigabyte.
Is that the one that's blue? I actually said that. I think that's the one I had. It was like a light blue card.
I'm not too sure, but I heard about it, and I heard it was really expensive. An RX 580 with 16 gigabytes is rare, truthfully. So that would have made a good starter card for somebody if they charged $100 for it, which I heard they charged 3 times the amount for it. So
yeah, I did have a special edition, but mine was an 8 gig model.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a 16 gigabyte model.
Yeah, I had the Sapphire Radeon Nitro Plus RX 580 8 gig backplate special edition UFEIE PCIe graphics card. It was light blue and silver. Had clear fans that lit up blue or white. It might have lit up white. It's been a while.
Well, I can tell you, if they're thinking about sliding this out for Christmas, this would be probably a good step forward for the 40 series, NVIDIA's RTX 40 series, but it would be a good refresh. It would put more cards on the market, but still the pricing is just not going to be there, I don't think. Unless NVIDIA says, okay, everybody, this is what we're doing. Okay, we know you paid these for this cards, right? But we're going to do something better for you in the 40 series. We're going to drop the prices down and let you get these cards for this. That would screw AMD hard.
I really don't think Nvidia's worried about gamers anymore.
No, not when they're in the trillions. I don't think so. I don't think so either.
Well, all their money's going into AI and stuff like that. Business. That's where the big money is. When you could sell one person a graphics card for $40,000, you're gonna rather do that than sell hundreds of people video cards in order to get the same amount of money.
What I think NVIDIA should do is branch off their gamers graphics cards into a different venue. So this way, you know, when people buy graphics cards from NVIDIA, it's a whole different ball game. People that are devoted into just the gamers only, you know, that would be nice for the NVIDIA to do that and make a graphics card line just for their gamers only, and it's a different branch from what NVIDIA is really selling. So basically, they have the creativity right out there to A to Z. I think that would be better off, you know, being able to do A to Z.
They're not going to do that. All they care about at the end of the day is money.
Oh, there's Arkeem. Hey, Arkeem, good to see you. Welcome back. And yes, we are live here. Hopefully everything's going well for you.
I could have recorded this a week ago. How would they know?
Oh, Arkeem's on the live chat. He said hi. He said hi to us. If you want to say hi to him, you know, he can hear you.
Hello, brother.
Oh my God.
I haven't talked to him in a while.
Well, he's here. You can type in. Can you type into the chat?
I could, yeah.
Yeah, you can say hi to him in the chat if you want.
I don't have to. He can hear me.
Yeah, but makes it look like it's more live when you jump in there once in a while, you know. It's like, say, hey, man.
I prefer to call people brother, even though I have no relation to them. I bent one of the pins on my 3.0 on my motherboard. Oh, woe is me.
Yeah, sometimes I'll type in a little bit, you know, so everybody knows that I can still type, that I have a keyboard, that I'm doing something to entertain them.
Kind of showed up late, missed all the topics. Or wait, you had one more topic, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I do. I mean,
you said you wanted to keep it a secret, or did we already go over that one?
I think we already went over that one.
Oh, okay.
No, there was.
Oh, was that was about the super cards, wasn't it?
Yeah, we just went through that with the super cards. Yeah. We went through the restriction on China. We went through that. We went through the GRE cards.
Considering Arkeem is located where he's at, he would have a better opportunity of getting one of those new Chinese video cards than we would.
Yeah, believe it or not, he probably would. He would have a better shot than we would, but I don't think he's going to pay like $2,000 for a system, that's going to, have kind of bit of garbage in it, because when they did what was the 79, it was the 7800 or somewhere in there, one of the new GRE variant, the systems, the enthusiast over there, a couple people done told me that, they had to buy the whole system, but the only thing that was really of value was the graphics card, but that was it. But they paid like $2,500 to get theirs. They paid $2,500 to get theirs. So, they got theirs, all right. They pretty much really got theirs. So let's see what else is cooking. Oh yeah, we never talked about this. The Intel 14th gen.
You mean wait, let me correct you. 13th gen.
Well, I was trying to give them a kind of a leg up, it's like, I was giving them some kind of a little bit of a boost up, but
they don't deserve it. I was gonna buy that new processor. Now I'm like torn.
Yeah, it makes you think twice about it, doesn't it?
No matter what, it would be an upgrade for me, but...
This is what I'm told. From the 13900K to the 14900K, there's only like a 1.5 to 2.3% uplift going from 13th gen to 14th gen on the 900K value. Now the 14700, maybe between the 14700 and the 13700, there's only maybe a 2.5% uplift on certain games.
Yeah, I was seeing that.
Yeah. So those extra E-cores they added on to the 14700 really didn't make much of a difference. So that's what I was told, and after they got done testing the crap and told me this, I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Oh, yeah, I do remember something. The anti-lag plus, the little problem that
getting people banned.
That AMD was having because of the anti-lag plus for RDNA 3.
Yeah, literally getting people banned because they updated their drivers.
Yeah, but this is the update to that. What they did is AMD said screw it, and they took off anti-lag plus.
Well, I mean, if it gives people an unfair advantage in all FPS games, then that seems fair to me.
Yeah, but it's not. It was just not Counter-Strike 2. It was a lot more games than Counter-Strike 2 that this was happening. So
yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. If it's giving people an unfair advantage because they have an AMD video card and people are using it to cheat, then yeah, they might as well just not have it.
Yeah. So they said in a press release that until they come up with a solution, that the anti-lag plus is going to be removed from the new driver updates. I think it's 23.10.2, if I remember right, or it's something in there. It's somewhere in that nature. Yeah. So, but the 23.10.1 is the uplift. So I think what they did is they took and they discontinued the 2310.1, and then they put the 2310.2 in its place and told everybody use that one. And they totally, I mean, I would imagine if they were smart, they would have took the 2310.1 and took it off of their website completely. So that way, you know, they could tell everybody, well, install this new one and, you know, go from there. But 9 out of 10 chances, if people are like me, they turn around, they save the software. You know, each update that they get, they save the software onto their hard drive. So I would imagine that would have happened like that. But the 14900K, there's absolutely no difference, except for you might get 1, 2, maybe the max 3% uplift with the refresh. But in actuality, 3% for the price that they're selling it for is not worth it. So if you're deciding to get a 14th gen, you're best off to go up to the 13th gen and then jump over to the 15th. Save yourself some money. So what do you think about that?
I think it's fair.
That's what a lot of people are doing. But, you know, if you're an enthusiast and stuff like that, you want to collect it. So basically you're going to be collecting, you know, the same as the 13900K. So you get the 14900K. So you spend about, what, $50, $60, $70 more?
I'm personally going to get the 14900K no matter what. And here's my reasoning. As dumb as I think the 14 series is, I'm on 12th right now. And 14th is going to be the last generation that has support for my motherboard. So I might as well buy the best processor I can buy for my motherboard and run it till it just doesn't play games well anymore.
Right. Okay, I can see that.
Like, I realize it's only like a 2% difference between the 13900 and the 14900. But I'm running a 12700, which will be more than fine for now. And to be honest, by the time I actually go to upgrade, the 14900 KS will be out. And I'll buy that one, and it will be incredibly hot and terrible, but hopefully my liquid cooling system will be able to tame it a little.
Tainted by Intel's hands alone. Pretty much.
Yeah.
So we have to look at it like, if that's where you're going to go as the KS version, I wouldn't do the KS version. I'd do the KF, but I wouldn't do the KS. The KS version will single out a lot of crap on your motherboard. So basically, you have your do's and your don'ts when you use the S version, the KS version. The KF version doesn't limit anything, except for the KF version doesn't have integrated graphics. That's the only difference between the K and the KF is the integrated graphics.
I use my motherboard outputs for my side monitors.
I know, but but the KS version, there's kind of little limit restrictions on a couple things. So that's something I want you to be aware of before buying into that. You know, if you got the K version or you got the KF version, you're not losing anything with the K version compared to the KF version, compared to the KS version. You know,
what do you lose, if you don't mind me asking, what do you lose with the KS version?
A little bit of overclocking capabilities. Because they put limiters on the KS version, so that way the chip doesn't overheat.
Can't you go in your BIOS and tell it to ignore that?
Not if they locked it away from you.
Oh.
That's the difference. There are some versions that, that they have, like Intel used to have years ago. They used to have one version that's on a turbo version. They used to have a standard version, and they had an enthusiast version. So basically, that's basically what their basic heads up is you got one with a iGPU, you got one that's an enthusiast version, and you got one that's just for the regular guy kind of version that doesn't want to overclock or anything else, that it just runs at full bore just as is with no uplift, no nothing. So but like I told everybody, you do your homework and you see which one's going to be the best version for you. And like I said, the K version's always going to be the best. People think because it's just got an integrated graphics that it takes away from the rest of the stuff that's on there on the processor itself, which that's untrue. They just tap into certain gates to tap in the integrated graphics. They tap in. Doesn't take away from the mainstream. So no matter what, your processor is a processor by itself. Even if it's got integrated graphics, it's still a processor. You can still use it as a processor with a discrete graphics card. So it doesn't take away from that performance of the processor. Now, using integrated graphics, it modifies it to where the integrated graphics are now leashed onto the processor, so that means the processor has to run in a different kind of manner. But when you run it with a discrete graphics card, it runs full bore the way you want it to run, because now it doesn't have that leash of integrated graphics. So yeah, people think that, just because, you get integrated graphics that it's always on and it never shuts off. I hate to tell you, when you run a discrete graphics card and you change it in the BIOS to where everything shifts to your PCIe 4.0 x16 lanes, then that disables the graphics, the integrated graphics, period.
Yeah.
So that's
I
where
actually had to go into my BIOS and re-enable it because it automatically disabled it on my motherboard when I plugged my graphics card in.
If you set it on auto, then it automatically switch over for you and you never have to mess with it.
Yep.
Me, since I run 64 gigs of RAM, if I want to run an iGPU up on this motherboard, I can take, like I said, 16 gigs of that RAM, dedicate it to the iGPU, and that now makes it discrete. Even though everybody says, well, yeah, but you still got to run it through this, it's part of your memory, and those memory chips that are on your system for your system RAM ain't that much more different than the VRAM chips that are on your discrete graphics card. They're not that much more different. They both have the same purpose when it comes to that. It's just there's a little bit more when it comes to system RAM, because there's a little bit more that they add to it. But it doesn't change the fact that the system RAM still has that focal architecture, that it can still run textures and everything through that RAM just to make it run even more better. So, but the way the architecture is with AMD, and you run 64 gigs of RAM with that integrated graphics, it takes one of the sticks and dedicates it, because I run 4 channels, it takes one of the sticks and dedicates it to the virtual RAM.
Yeah.
So it just dedicates it. So basically you get 16 gigs, and then you got your shared system RAM, which all computers do with your discrete graphics card as it is they share part of the RAM that's on your system with the graphics card. So either way you look at it, you're still doing the same crap. If you use integrated graphics compared to discrete graphics card, you're still doing the same damn thing. Not unless you disable the system RAM from the integrated the graphics card, the discrete graphics card. You would have to disable it between the two for it not to be shared. But you can't do that because for the simple fact that you have an overload that happens once in a while, and there has to be a flow over that goes into the system RAM. And also too, the system RAM still goes back and forth, and it goes back and forth with the discrete graphics card, just like if it was integrated graphics. So there's really not, and everybody can tell me different, but I can tell you as far as when I'm running Second Life, there is no difference between a discrete graphics card and the integrated graphics I got. There is no difference. Oh yeah, the FPS might be a different, but people don't know what raw horsepower is when you run OpenGL. OpenGL doesn't use DLSS 3 or none of that crap. Doesn't use DirectX, none of it. OpenGL is separate, and it uses nothing but the processor cores. Nothing but the processor cores. Okay. Big difference. Like when you run Furmark, does the same thing, uses nothing but the processor cores. But when you put, architecture into it, then like the AVX, and start using different modes of operation, then that's a different story. But as long as your OpenGL just runs purely OpenGL, then you're just using the the cores themselves for your process, for your textures and everything else, and using the VRAM as well for your texture manipulations and stuff like that. But OpenGL is a lot better. It'll tell you more about your graphics card than you think, if you didn't know that.
Yeah, you showed me it in the past, actually.
Yeah. See, the only difference between DirectX and OpenGL is DirectX is more of a manipulation, to where it manipulates more of the graphics on your screen than OpenGL does. But there's a little bit of a caveat with OpenGL. OpenGL uses nothing but the cores, nothing but the processor cores, and it doesn't need DLSS 3 and all that to make it the card run at 100%. So that's how you got to look at it, man. OpenGL I like OpenGL better than I do DirectX, really. Because when you test your graphics card, you're not cheating everybody. You want to test it right at the stock, untouched as is, then OpenGL programs would be a lot better for you to test with than you were using DirectX. A lot of people like the DirectXs because they want harsher, they want more detailed graphics. They want everything, just like 6,000% and more. Okay. A lot of people do like it like that. Me, I want to see the standard of the graphics the way it was originally designed. That tells me at its raw horsepower what it's going to do. And so far I haven't been wrong about this. As I ran my test, On the 4070, I tested it on OpenGL, and it runs 2 to 3. It gets to about 300 FPS more than the iGPU I got from AMD, the 5600G. I get 300 more FPS. So,
Crazy.
yeah, it is. But at least I'm getting close to 300 FPS off of on OpenGL with AMD, but I'm getting close to over 600 FPS with nvidia, the RTX 4070, and that's on OpenGL. See, I don't look for it to take and kill the card, with all these extra, graphics that you really don't need. They put stuff in there that just draws your card down and makes your card work so hard, and then they burn out so fast, and you're kicking yourself in the butt. Maybe I shouldn't have played that game all along. But on OpenGL, I have the option to choose how I want my textures to look, how I want my graphics to run, and everything else. So I'm not killing my card.
Most games are like that too, though. Most games let you set your settings.
Yeah. But some games aren't like that. That's the bad part.
Very few of them. Like the majority of PC games at least have some video settings. 90% that I've played at least have had high, medium, low settings. And then some of them get more advanced. Like when you look at games like Cyberpunk, where it's like you have 50 different things you can change for graphics options, and there's like 4 or 5, 6 options per thing.
Yeah, but you ask yourself this question, and I know this probably, why is it that when you run, let's use an example, let's say you run a 4068 gigabytes on, let's say, Cyberpunk 77 at full bore settings, and it's like it limps along.
Yeah, but it's not worth it. You turn the settings down a little bit.
Well, no, I'm just saying as a benchmarking.
Oh.
So you go to run a 6800 XT in that same fashion, and it limps along.
Mm-hmm.
You go to run a 4070 with the RT cores full bore, and it just blasts you with a whole bunch of FPS. What was different?
Especially in Cyberpunk.
Especially in Cyberpunk is nvidia territory.
That's an incredibly hard game to run.
Yeah, but if you got the RT cores to run it and the CUDA cores, then
yeah,
it makes a big difference now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And like I told you, man, the only reason people are complaining about nvidia is because of the pricing. They can't come up with anything else that's viable for their argument of why they shouldn't buy nvidia.
See, I literally just had a conversation the other day with one of my friends. He was looking at my computer, and I was explaining to him, and he asked me about some of my previous computers, and he goes, "You've used a lot of NVIDIA cards and Intel chips." And I'm like, yeah, you're not wrong there. He's like, well, why not use AMD? And I'm like, I have used AMD. I've had a 580, I've had a 590, I've had a couple Ryzen chips, and you know what I had with them as well? Problems, compatibility issues, bad drivers. And right now, the new best gaming chip is an AMD chip. Am I going to buy it? Nope. Until AMD's drivers are and not even drivers, but just their compatibility and their user friendliness is to the level of Intel, I'll buy it. As soon as it's available, I'll buy it.
Okay.
But especially when I'm doing something like hard or water cooling, like my graphics card and everything's gonna be like hooked into one cooling loop. That is an extremely hard system to take apart if something breaks.
Okay.
I need to make sure I'm not gonna get something that breaks.
You know, the biggest mistake everybody makes, and I'm going to be honest with you, is that they go to untested, unproven, reliable things that these companies make to prove a point that it really doesn't work.
Yeah.
Listen to what I'm saying about this. Going from the DDR4 series to the DDR5 series, it's in its infancy, but you're looking at DDR4 that's been out 9 years. 9 years, been tested, proven, and everything else to where it's reliable compared to an unreliable that everybody's just looking for more power, more power, more power. It's not the power that you're needing, especially with your processor. And that's the mistake everybody makes, is they look for more power, power, power. That's not where you need to be looking. Oh, it's bottlenecking. It's bottlenecking. You're trying to scare the public and tell them they're bottlenecking. You know, I hate to tell you all this. This 5700X does not bottleneck with this RTX 4070. It runs like a gem. They're compatible, especially with this motherboard. So, and I'll tell you what, I'm undervolting the processor and getting the same performance as you would as you left it running normal. But I'm getting less heat, more performance, and everything else. And it is AM4, DDR4. I am running AMD. I have not had problems with AMD. Not on their processors. You match their processor with the right, and listen to my voice, with the right motherboard. It will run best for you. Because guess what? Is there updates on AMD software? Hell no, maybe once every 4 years. When it comes to the processor, you might get one update about every 4 years on their processor. That's it. Now, their graphics card is a different story. I'm going to tell you all this. The graphics card is a different story. That's where you run into problems because they can't get the drivers where they need to be. Well, guess what? Intel does the same thing with their ARC card. They're trying to catch it up. It's not perfect. When it's a brand new card, it's not going to be perfect. But if it's already been a tested card that's been out there quite a while, more than a year, and then the drivers are seasoned, then you go from there. Okay, but when it comes to AMD's processors, there's not much more because most of the software that goes with this processor is still back in 2021. And this is 2023.
Yeah.
There's not much that you're updating because Microsoft Windows is doing all the updating for you. So you're not doing any updating on the driver software for your processor. Actually, Microsoft is. Not unless you go to AMD's website and download their most recent drivers. Then that changes the fact of Microsoft doing it, because now once you put those drivers in, you're responsible for doing it, not Microsoft anymore. But you wonder with the crashing and everything else, that's because everybody decides to leave all the Microsoft drivers in there, which are not totally 100% for that processor. It's an equivalent or two. You have to watch what Microsoft says, equivalent or to. That doesn't mean it is. You would have to go to AMD and get the drivers and put it in yourself. That's proven to that processor. But if you don't, then you're stuck with Microsoft's BS, and you will get blue screening and everything else and blah, 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 blah. Okay?
Yep.
So don't shift all the blame to AMD, because truthfully, it's not all AMD's fault. It's actually been Microsoft's fault for the last 5 years. Well, actually,
no matter whose fault it is, it's still enough for me to stick with Intel.
No, what Microsoft does is they get the drivers from AMD, they manipulate the drivers into what they're supposed to not be, and then they ship it out to your computer thinking that it's all right to run on as is, which not, and this has been proven, not every processor is built the same.
Yeah.
You'll never get that accuracy. Never. So there's always going to be a glitch somewhere. But if you get the drivers for yourself from AMD, you get the exact drivers they built for that processor. For that batch. So that's where you got to look at it, you know. Because I had a problem with AMD's graphics cards and nvidia's graphics cards. One, when you first install your graphics card, AMD automatically installs their drivers. You notice that? They just go in and they just install their drivers. But when you remove those drivers out and you put in like nvidia or AMD drivers, the most recent ones, guess what Microsoft does? They pull those out and they put theirs back in until you tell them when you go to roll the drivers back and you say, hey, I don't want your drivers in my system anymore. You got to let them know what the reason why is you're taking and rolling it back. And usually I tell them because they don't work. So, once you do that for a first time for your graphics cards, you're going to go through this back and forth with Microsoft until you get your drivers in and you deny them, take out their drivers and roll, the ones you put in back in there. And then after that, all you do is update. All you do is update the drivers. Yet today, since I first got this card, since I first got the RTX 4070, I yet to do a clean install. I have not done a clean install, and I have not had a problem. Surprised?
No, I very much believe that AMD has cleaned up their act and Windows has cleaned up their act.
But they haven't. They haven't. That's the thing. They have not cleaned up their act.
You're explaining all of this.
Right.
And I've never once had an issue with my Intel processor. I've never needed to do any funky things. It just works. Plug it in, it works. I update my motherboard BIOS. I update my GPU through GeForce Experience, which I know a lot of people don't like, but I like GeForce Experience.
Right.
And I don't have to do all that wacky stuff, ever. And it's that wacky stuff that, it's not game-breaking. It's just, if I'm spending thousands of dollars on a computer, I don't want to have to do that. I want it to just work.
I stopped updating with GeForce Experience.
Yeah? A lot of people have. A lot of people don't like it.
Well, the reason is they only give you one or two updates, and after that, when, your email gives you a pop-up saying, oh, we got new software for NVIDIA, blah, 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 and you're looking on the GeForce Experience, and you're not seeing any updates, and you're going, what the hell? And as soon as you download the new updates from GeForce Experience, guess what pops up on the screen? The new updates for GeForce Experience. It's their website's not the web page that they put on for the GeForce Experience on your computer is not keeping up to date. That's the one thing I don't like about nvidia is that GeForce Experience. Is because they could have took all those extra little bits of perks and put it onto the control panel for NVIDIA's control panel and eliminated that GeForce Experience. They could have eliminated that GeForce Experience and then put the update upon the control panel like they used to have it. That's just a game that right there is just like what you use for a game launcher. You know, you use for streaming launcher. All it is extra aggravation, especially when you're using OBS. I don't need none of that crap that's in there. Maybe the one or two things they should have put onto the control panel that I could have used there. But
yeah.
Anything else? I really didn't need none of that.
Pardon?
When it comes to the other stuff, you really don't need it.
Yeah.
Because when you go onto your games, they're already there. All the tweaks, all the things that you need there, the tools are there. Because what happens is when you load up a new game, it disables a lot of stuff that's on your control panel. Because the game takes control and tells your GPU what you want it to do to play that game. So it disables a lot of perks that are up on the control panel. So you really don't get everything that you think you're getting from your system perks, which you don't. It's whatever the game makers put on the display settings for that game. That's what you get. You're really not getting much any more perks. Have you ever seen any extra perks by playing the game and then changing any of the settings on the control panel for NVIDIA?
I don't know. I mean, we did it that one night with Starfield, and I had screen tearing.
Yeah, but certain games don't do that because they consider that using that control panel cheating, because there's another little caveat to that control panel. There's something else you can do to make that control panel a little bit better, but it's been a couple years since I remember how I was supposed to do that, because you can modify it with a couple DLLs that give you more boost in performance and everything else, and I forgot how to do it. It's been a couple years since I did that, but it can be done. So there is something that you can do to their control panel to boost it, to make it better. Now, if they don't do that, then you're stuck with what you got. So, but I don't need anything on the control panel anyway. I set everything to where it needs to be, as far as the graphics and everything else. I don't see the need to change anything on the control panel. I use it once and I turn it and leave it as is, and then you walk away from it. That's the good thing, because then you can go into your display settings for your games and then change whatever you want there to get better graphics or whatever. But you're not really using anything on for the system because it's been pretty much disabled. That's the way, some game developers do things, is they disable your control panel. So that way they have control of your GPU on whatever game you're playing. So, except for when you got like MSI Afterburner, then, that's a different story. Then you can still do your tweaks, as far as the frequency and the amount of power that you're wanting to use. That's pretty much what, MSI Afterburner does. Gives you a better frequency, more memory range, and also to a little bit extra boost of power. That's all you get from MSI Afterburner.
Yeah.
Most of your textures and everything and all the settings are on your games. When you open up your games in your display settings. That's pretty much it. There's nothing else you really can perk on your graphics card. It is what it is. And if you get more than 100% out of your graphics card, God bless you. Am I wrong?
No, you're not.
So that's something to really think about, when people ask me this question, is there any more perks that you can get off of your graphics card? Not unless nvidia or AMD or Intel, they give you any more software perks. That's the only perks you get for your graphics card. There is nothing else unless you get something that's been, modified by a programmer. That's the only way you're going to get something different, but then you're taking a risk of screwing up your graphics card. And I don't think I want to take that risk. I'd rather keep it on the original status, and whatever the company puts out there and says, this is going to be another new perk for you, here you go. And I'm going to go with it. Because I know my card right now, it's less than a year old. Okay? You see what I'm saying now, right?
Yeah.
It's not the 30 series to where it's more than a year old, or 2 years old, or 3 years old, or so on. I got something that's less than a year old. When I first bought this card, it was only a month old. So that tells me how new the card was when I got it.
I've never owned a card that new.
Yeah. I try to get them as new as I can, like the process off of the line. Kind of.
Well, you know me. I like to get all my stuff used. So every time my buddy upgrades, I get his old card, is usually how it works.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing
No,
wrong with that.
not at all.
I don't mind.
And I pay him for it. It's not like free.
Exactly. It does cost no matter what. When it comes into you wanting to get into the computer world, nothing, and this is the big old word, nothing is free, and don't expect it to be free. There's always a cost behind everything that you do. There's always a labor cost. There's always a product cost. There's nothing free. Except for those couple games. Thank you, Bo. Just let you know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that other one came through, by the way.
Oh, it did? Finally?
Yeah, it finally did, yeah.
Cool.
I got it, but I was not able to, I didn't get to, Steam to install it yet. So I haven't installed it yet.
I hope it's fun and works out good for you.
Well, you'll know because I'll put it out as a video, for real. Oh my God, we've been doing this for an hour and 45 minutes. Can you believe that? So, is there anything new that you're going to be doing this week on your system? What are you going to be doing, man?
No. Right now, I'm still saving for medical bills and stuff. My computer probably won't be done till closer to Christmas.
Yeah, but it'd be a hell of a Christmas present, won't it?
Not really, when I'm the one that had to buy it.
Yeah, but that's what makes it more fun when you gotta buy. Usually I won't have people buy from me. I'll buy for myself. I'll tell them, look, you give me a fat old, amount in my wallet. I'll go buy it. I'll go build it, and I'll go be happy with it.
Yeah.
It works out for me. I do that with most people. I say, here's either 50 or $100. Have a nice Christmas. Let you go buy what you want. That's the whole idea. And we need to figure out how to get more people here. That way we can get more people typing in the chat. Hello, everybody. I know I got over 200 and some people up on the spectator list. Oh, what do you call that spectator list? The fan club.
Current viewers.
Is that what it is?
That's what I'd call it.
Oh, is it like the odd couple list, or I don't know, but it's some kind of list. Oh yeah. Oh no, it's not that list neither. Oh my God, I even forgot what it was. Was it a VIP list? Am I close or no?
I have no idea. I'm not sure what list you're referring to. You're talking about the community chat area?
No. Oh, I know. It was the subscriber list. Yeah, that's what it was. The YouTube subscriber list. We got a bunch of new subscribers in while I was on my trip, and trip went really well, by the way. Yeah. Get a needle jammed in you, and they kind of take too much of what you don't want them to take. Going that way, but
yeah, I just had dental work done, and they.
Oh.
Like that.
Oh, you want to talk about dental work?
Between your jaw and
when I went to the doctors, the needle was that long. I can give it about a good 3.5, 4-inch needle.
I hate needles. I absolutely despise them.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I've been doing this since I was 12 to now, so needles don't bother me anymore.
Well, between almost dying with the big C and now my hip replacements and stuff, I'm kind of over hospitals at this point.
Well, I wouldn't blame you. I'd be over the hospital thing too if I got to, deal with it day in, day out, 7 days a week. That'd be a different story. But as long as it didn't have me in there 7 days a week, I'd be happy too.
Yeah.
Well, it does have you in there quite a few times, but and it's not that they're giving the perks for the nurses being there and everything. It's not that. That's not the perks, because they're usually got a ring on their finger, so that doesn't do me any good.
Won't do me any good either. I'm happily married.
Yeah, well, I'm single, but that's how it plays on the single life. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I have been married before. I am divorced, so it's done and over with for many years. So been there, seen it, done
it. Part of life. We gotta move on as humans. Stuff happens.
Yeah, true.
We are very much rabbit trailing again, though.
What do you mean?
Like off of computer topics.
Oh, what was I? Well, I figured, everybody doesn't like when, you just stay on the same topic and keep going at it, and at it. So I kind of slip off a little bit and, kind of do like an S curve on a couple times. So
All
that
right.
way it kind of keeps it more family oriented. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, some people like it, some people won't. Some people just want to go hardcore, just, blah, 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 constantly, constantly, constantly. You know, I kind of like to veer off course once in a while, because I want to be able to make everybody feel at home, you know, don't feel like that you don't belong here. I'm an outcast. I know that. I've been an outcast all my life. So, but I'm here. So that's how it goes. So
Understandable.
everybody looks at me like I'm an old ass Santa Claus.
Nothing wrong with that. Santa Claus is pretty cool.
Yeah. But they'll have to get over it because I might be shaving this soon if we get
Oh.
enough viewers in for next week. We did get up to 12 views so far, and it's only been like an hour and 51 minutes, but we didn't get it, we got almost maybe looking at this. I'm looking at the charts as we're talking about it. Okay, the average viewer duration's only up to 1 minute.
Yeah.
So we're not having a great, record when it comes to, people sticking around for the show. I guess because, they don't know us very well. That's probably what it is too. They know me from seeing my videos for a whole year. I don't see why they're not here now. And I did
Well,
it. It's being done on a Saturday of all days that nothing's going on, like nobody can't be here.
well, a lot of people go out and do stuff on the weekends.
Yeah, but we
Like
do it at
during the
4.
summer, I go camping every weekend during the summer.
Right.
So there might be other people out, going camping or partying or celebrating, and they're just not home. They're just not available.
Yeah, there are some people that are still at work. They could be
Also,
listening. They could be listening on the live podcast. Who knows? Or maybe
well,
because I don't. Maybe because I don't have the screen decorated up enough for them to stick around because they think it's generic. Maybe could be too.
well, it could be also like your title is just live podcast every Saturday at 4 with the duo Jay and Dakota. It doesn't really explain that it's like tech related. So I realize you have the hashtags there.
Do you realize that they do have a description?
I know, but a lot of people don't click on stuff and read the description. They click on it because of the title.
Yeah.
So people might be clicking on the video to see what we're talking about and being like, oh, these guys are talking about tech. I'm not really interested in that. And then moving along.
Well, that's the whole reason of leaving a title is for them to be looking in and getting interested to the fact of what are we talking about? See, there's two sides to this caveat. I understand where you're saying the one side of it, but there is another side to this. It's if you're interested enough to find out what we're talking about, you're going to be here. You're going to stay from A to Z. You're going to be interested. But if you're not interested, you're not going to stay. We basically, when it comes down to you want people to stay, those are going to be the ones that are going to be interested in what we're talking about, other than not be interested and going away.
All right.
So the ones that want to stay are going to be the ones here getting into chatting with us and having a good time. Now, if it's the ones that don't want to be here, they're just going to click and go.
Yeah,
I left
which is
this
fair.
up. I left this upcoming this upcoming video for a whole week. Everybody knew for a whole week that that we do this every Saturday. So this
Yeah.
was up. This was up, and they can take and sign up for the notifications. They can click and turn on the notification for it. So when we go live, they see the notification, they can come here instantly. They could have done that too. But these are things that you and me talk about that they hear, because if they watch the video to the end, now we say watch the video from beginning to end. That's the reason why, because that way you get the full stock of information. You just don't get partial, you get the full thing. So even if they're not here on the live video today, we are still getting views. Because if I look at it, the last one we did, and I can look at this while we're sitting here, talking about this. Okay, go to my live section, and let's see what we got on the scoreboard. Okay, so now the last time we did a live view, last week, we got 27 views. Okay, and then the week before, we got 36. Okay, so, but now looking at today, we got 12. That's within a 2-hour time period. You see what I'm saying, right? It's increasing. People will get interested in what we're going to talk about. Okay, there are sometimes I gotten 5 people in here at one time, like some of the people that are on the Discord that, they really want to be there, so the Discord is there. And I've always said that if they want to get on Discord, they can always leave me an email, which I have it available for everybody on my homepage, the JJ's PC Built homepage, that you can go and you click on the about, and then you can go to where it says, the business emails down there. Click on that. It gives you the email. Then you email me and say, hey, can you, send me an invite for Discord? This is my name on Discord. Can you add me in, please? They could have done that anytime. So there's no excuse why they couldn't have went to Discord. Do understand that. There is...
People don't like working hard to get into Discord.
Well, they're not working hard at all. All they had to do is type and give me a name.
Yeah, but I'm not saying they're actually working hard. I'm just saying normally they're used to just clicking a link and joining a server.
Right.
So any little bit of extra work they have to do, they don't like.
Well, then I guess you won't be there if you don't like to put in that extra little 2 minutes of your time.
Right.
I had to put in a lot of 2 minutes of my time, and nobody gives me no satisfaction in that, but I do it.
A few of us that talk in there try.
Well, if you look at it, I put more of my time into this than anything.
Yeah.
But I do it for the viewers. I do it for the subscribers.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this for myself. Not yet, but I'm not doing it for myself. I'm not like the other reviewers. I don't make it into all about me. I make it into all about the channel. How many times you heard me say it's about me?
Not ever.
Exactly. How many times you hear me say it's about the channel?
Quite a bit.
Quite a bit. Does the channel live with me? Does it sleep with me? Does it feed me, clothe me, and everything else? No. But we do it for the channel because this is what builds the channel. This is what makes the channel home for everybody. Not just me. It makes it home for everybody that's here on YouTube. Makes them feel like they're safe and they can come here and feel free to talk. Even though that, I kind of say don't use profanity. If it slips a little bit, I understand. But the thing, just because of the kids and everything else, I'm not saying I got kids on my channel because it's, supposed to be 18 and up. I got no, you guys know the point. We basically, I like to keep it like at a moderate level, kind of family kind of thing. You want to keep at a moderate level. But some people have this place as a home away from home. They could use it as a home away from home. I get along with everybody. I have no problems with nobody. I have no beef with nobody out there in the YouTube world.
That's what you need. That's what'll get you relevant. Drama.
Oh, I can make up drama. I mean, if you want me to start, a drama scene, I can make a drama scene really quick.
No. We don't need that.
Exactly. We have enough in this world of drama. I mean, I just want to keep everything on a low key. I want to, make everybody happy, and everybody go lucky, and I just want everybody to feel at home. I mean,
that's fair.
I mean, it's not that I talk 24/7 about PCs, but which I do, I try to at least. So, but I try to make it.
We're rolling up on the hour. Might be a good time to cap the podcast. Do it right on the hour.
Yeah.
It's almost. Well, for me, it's almost 9:00.
Well, if you look at it, I'm 2 minutes over that.
Oh, you're 2 minutes over 9? Oh.
Well, no.
Well, for you, it's not 9.
Right.
California time and all.
Right. No, but I can pretty much cap it here. So we'll go ahead and do that. So, but anyway, you got any last words there, Dakota? We'll go ahead and end it right here.
Considering the news we've talked about tonight, I'm very interested to see what those new Chinese video cards look like. And I'm interested to see what will happen with the 4090 prices with the embargoes to China. Or not embargoes, but the tariffs to China. I think it's a tariff, right? Where they charge money, or they're just straight up banning it.
They're just straight up banning it.
Oh, well, they ain't really tariff then. I'll be interested to see how the prices roll. Yeah. If the 4090 gets more expensive, that means my video cards get more expensive, and I can sell them bad boys.
I agree with you 100% on that. I mean, the 6750 GRE would be an interesting card to look at, especially it's got the 10 and 12 gigabyte version. Also, too, you're right. China getting banned on the 4090 and some of the other cards that from nvidia. That's kind of a bummer on nvidia's part because that opens up a door for AMD. That, and probably a door for Intel as well. And that kind of cuts into their market a little bit. Do keep that in mind.
I'm okay with that, though. I think more video cards out there, the more market share there is, the better. Prices come down that way.
Yeah, but you're looking at Intel with only probably 7 or 8% of the market share. and like Intel at about maybe 1.5%, and then you're looking at nvidia having 90+%. Is a big difference.
That's what I'm saying. They need to be cut down a little. Need the 33.33% for each company.
That usually only happens when companies come out with something good, something that people want. But if they come out with crap, that's pretty much where they sit down, and pretty much the percentage they sit down as is the crap level. That's because they're putting out crap. Everybody thinks, oh, they put out one good graphics card in maybe 1.5, 2 years? One good graphics card that they're king. But then you got another company that puts out like 3 to 4 to 5 different good graphics cards. And then you got everybody trying to knock them down because of the price. You see how this is working?
It's free market. That's how it works.
It's pretty much, when they put out crap, AMD puts out crap, it's crap. Okay? Yeah. When they say they're going to do something and they don't deliver on it, then everybody's like, well, how come you didn't deliver on it? What the hell? Just like the 7900 XTX didn't deliver on it. No, they could have put out the 7950 XTX that they had already in the works, but they didn't do that neither. I've already talked about it, and like I said, I'm not going to go on about it. But nvidia puts out the 4090. They put out a hellacious price with it. If they would have lowered the price down to like maybe $1,200, then it would have been viable. And then the 4080 they put down at $800, and then the 4070 Ti at $600, and then the 4070 at $400, and then the 4060 Ti at $350 or $300, and then the 4060 down at $200. That would have been viable. That would have been viable for nvidia, the prices. And then that would keep it good competitive pricing with AMD. Even better with the amount of horsepower that these things put out.
Yeah.
So, you got to keep that in mind too. But we'll see what NVIDIA has cooking if they decide, if these leaks become true about the Super Series. We'll see what they have cooking for the 4080 and the 4070 versions. So we'll go ahead and we'll leave it at that until that next time. You know what I mean?
Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes. Like, comment, subscribe. Watch the videos from beginning to end. Would help out.
Check out some other videos too. Like, check out his channel. Just scroll through some of the other ones, some of his older videos and stuff. A lot of interesting videos on there.
Yeah, like he said. But anyway. All right, everybody, until the next time. And I mean the next time in the next video. This is JJ and
Dakota.
See, slacking over there. But
hey, I'm a little slight delay, I think, is what's going on.
Oh my God. But anyway, we'll see y'all on the next one. Take care and be safe, and don't do anything I wouldn't do.
There you go.
Hold on. I haven't did this right yet. So.
Stop. Oh, no, it is.